Welcome to the October 25th, 2023 Diversion Authority Finance Committee meeting. Please call it to order. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dirtis.
Here.
Mayor Mahoney. Here. Mr. Peterson.
I am here.
Mr. Steen.
Here.
Ms. Thompson.
Here.
Ms. Johnson. Mr. Redlinger.
Here.
Mr. Grimberg. Mr. Pepcorn.
Here.
Mayor Carlson. Mr. Reitz.
Here.
Ms. Madriga.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you, Don. For the record, Commissioner Grinberg is traveling, as is Mayor Carlson. I just got a text from both of them, and they're not in a place where they can join us quite yet. Mayor Carlson may be joining us mid-meeting. Item number 2 is the approve the minutes of September 27, 2023. It's on page 3 of the packet. It has been distributed.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
We may want to address a change to the agenda, perhaps, because we just had a table from the land committee, so we really don't have anything to act on. And I think that is on this agenda, so we should probably change the agenda and remove it from the agenda. I don't have it up for me right there. It's
Okay.
9B.
When we get to
It's part of the agenda. If we don't approve agenda, we would strike 9B, I think is what you're saying, Rick, right?
we'll do that at item number 3.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
That's all right. Again,
Move to approve the minutes.
thank you,
Second.
Mr. Steve.
Mr. Steve.
Yeah. Thanks, Rick. Seconded by Mayor Mahoney. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of September 27, 2023 as distributed. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The minutes are approved. Item number 3 is the approval of the agenda. Mr. Steen.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend removing item 9B from the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Been moved and seconded to approve the removal of 9B from our agenda. Is there any discussion? Again, I'll have a roll call or voice vote, please. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 4 is the approval of the bills. We'll call on Susan Thompson for the City of Fargo. It's on page 6 of the packet. It has been distributed.
Hi. The total bills for the month of October, $20,688,000. The big ones are from the Cass County Joint Water Resource District. Looks like some land acquisition. All the other ones look like pretty standard bills. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Mrs. Thompson?
Move to approve the payment of the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bills as presented. Is there any discussion? Any further questions? Hearing none. Don, would you please call a roll?
Mayor Dirtis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Reitz.
Yes.
Ms. Madriga.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you, Don. Item number 5 is the finance report. Again, we call on Susan Thompson, City of Fargo, my apologies. It is on page 22 and have been distributed. That's wishful thinking, Susan.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sure. It's actually page 23 that I'm looking at with the assets and the liabilities and the net position. So total assets, $220,540,000, liabilities of $1.6 million. So net position as of September 30th, $218,921, 233. Anybody have any questions?
Questions? Any questions? A motion, please.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? I have a motion and a second to approve the finance report as presented by Mrs. Thompson. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6 is the Executive Director's Financial Report. We call on Mr. Paulson. It's on page 46 of the packet and have been distributed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before you on the screen here is the annual or the monthly revenue status. You can see we brought in about 6.6 million through sales tax, and a little bit from financing proceeds. So in tracking the sales tax this year, we are on track for that 38. As the committee knows, those numbers are about 3 months behind because it takes time to transfer those dollars and do all the accounting for the sales tax. So no concerns on the revenue in general. So we can move to the next slide. And I'll just, again, report the level 1 summary. The level 2 is contained within your packet if you had any more detailed questions. But as you can see here, we're still under budget on all of our items. We've spent $97 million to date this year, $137 million remaining. We still maintain that we do have some large property transactions to occur at the last few months here of the year. And you can see, we still have about 40 million left in the lands budget. So we're anticipating, depending on the timing of settlements and transactions, that we will spend that by the end of the year. Nothing of real concern anywhere else. I think we'll probably come in a bit under budget on some of the other line items, and some of those will be transferred due to timing over to the 2024 cash budget. And go, Mayor.
Mr. Chairman?
Mayor
In the
Moore?
previous lands committee, there was some concern about are we okay on our financing? I'm on the impression that sales taxes in the county and in the city is running a good pace that is above what we had in our financial model. I think just to reassure that commissioner, you would say we are on pace, our financial model is still strong, and we should have enough money to pay for this project.
Correct, Mayor. Nothing has deviated from our financial plan at this point. Obviously, we have many years of construction remaining with our P3 developer, so things could change along the way. But at the moment, there's nothing of noteworthy concern as far as our financial plan is.
Additional questions for Joel?
I have one more page to share with you, Mr. Chair. I'll do the authority's operations budget. As you can see here, everything is coming in to be on budget by the end of the year, and I have no concerns in any of the particular areas. So, with that, certainly available for any additional questions.
Any questions on the operations budget? No? All right. Item number 7. Joel, would you please continue for the
right.
Diversion Authority Board approval contracting actions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 2 potential contracting actions for the board to consider. The first one is a new services agreement with NDON, which is run out of NDSU. This is a potential service agreement to install 15 all-season weather stations upstream of the project. I did take this proposal and ran it through the technical advisors group for the authority, and our technical advisors think it's a valid use of money to put in these gauges. Daryl Richardson, that runs the program, did ask if he could or come and talk about this a little bit, but I told him I think I can get most of the points across. These all-season weather gauges really provide accurate snowfall data, much more accurate than the current gauges currently used. So what this will really do is allow us to have better visual on the snowpack upstream from Fargo, which will allow us to have more accurate flood forecasts for the spring. Obviously our concern is, having as much advance notice as possible in order to ramp up our preparations, if need be, for flood fighting operations. And once the project is operational, obviously for operational preparations for the project. So any questions related to that contracting action?
So quick question on the next page. Excuse me. Don, if you could turn to the next page. I think. I have the detail. It talks about the agreement, the budget change, revised budget. I just want to make sure I understand that. I'm on page 56. Who's ever running the show over there? Fif- 56. There you go. Thank you. And this is part of that place we're at. So I'm just trying to understand the graph. So this is something new that just came up. So we have original agreement, it's an agreement, a budget change, it says 0, but isn't this a $250,000 change? Because we never anticipated this? I'm just trying to understand how this schedule works, Joel.
Yeah, so this is a new agreement. So under the original agreement would be the 250,000. And
So I'm looking at it, says original budget 250,000. Well, this is kind of a new budget item, is it not?
this is, yes,
Okay, so I'm trying to
yes.
reconcile this page with the fact that this is a new budget item.
This would be a new budget item. That's correct.
Okay.
The $250,000 is for 2024, though, is it not? Or you,
It would be for 2024. The cost to install these would be next summer in 2024. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Point being, maybe I'm not clear, that's the cash budget. I'm talking program budget. Is this already contemplated in the program budget, or is this a new budget item? That's what I'm
This
trying to
is
get-
a new budget item.
Okay, that's what I'm
This-
trying to reconcile that to this
Yeah,
report.
we did not contemplate this
Okay.
in the overall project budget.
so at the present time, we have a draft 2024 budget. So by December, when the new final budget is before, this will be a line item.
If it gets approved, that's
It's
correct.
approved. All right, very good.
Yes, I agree with Chairman Dardis, but it's also a new program budget line item.
That's correct.
Okay, so it's both, program and next year's little cash.
That's
That's what I'm trying to get, thank you.
Yep.
But to clarify, this is a one-year
But it-
expenditure. It's not going to be ongoing, is it?
No, this would be a one-time expenditure to install, and then after that, NDON would assume the operation and maintenance of those gauges. Yeah.
Mayor Mahoney?
Yeah, Pepcorn first, he
Mayor
had something to
Pipcorn,
do
my
with it.
apologies.
So just real quick, I want to thank Joel for doing this because it isn't just us that's participating. It's the North Dakota Department of Agriculture and also the Minnesota, I believe it's the DNR. And so this is going to be, it's going to have much more information that will benefit the whole Red River Valley in multiple ways. But the diversion, it will help us, I mean, just to make it run better. So I just think it's a great investment. And I think it's going to be, it will pay dividends many ways. The technology is way more accurate than just snow depths. It's also soil moisture, which affects flooding capacity. So this is a legit thing and will help not only Fargo, but everybody up and down, all the way up to Winnipeg. I mean, it'll be a good thing. So thank you for including this, Joel, because I think it's a good thing. I also believe it's symbolic that this is something that we should participate in, because it's not just the diversion, it's everybody will benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Mahoney?
Well, I object because it takes away the famous Mayor Wallaker drive to the south. This will give more predictive value, and the way he'd find value is he'd send his assistant commissioner down in the ditch, have him jump on the snow, and if the snow went down and you got your feet wet, you knew there was so much water left and there was so much water coming towards Fargo. So I'm really glad, Dave, it's getting more scientific and we've gone away from that, but almost would have it an honor of Denny Wallaker that we pass this motion just because I think it gives us more accurate information. And I think the flood of 209, the difficulty we had was predicting how much water was in the snowpack. And I'm understanding that this new technology will help us predict that better. And it was difficult at times with the drone footage and stuff. You didn't really know how much moisture was in the ground. And I think this will be a great thing. So I'd make the motion in honor of Denny Wallaker that we do this.
Can I second it then, and then can I add something too? If you
Have a
can,
motion and a second.
so Mayor Wallaker's route, if you really connect them, there was a lot of bars and cafes that were also included. So he claimed it was for flood research, but I think there was more to it. So, but I do agree.
There are great hamburgers along the way. I admit that.
Commissioner Peterson?
Mr. Chairman, for clarification, will Mayor Mahoney still be able to require David to go jump in the snow south of town? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay,
That's above
thank
my
you.
pay grade to answer that question. You know, with all kidding aside of the way that the good Mayor Wallaker used to do this. The other fact is, sitting in the other seat, Mahoney was probably in the back seat, but sitting next to him was Mark Bittner. And so you could talk all you want about standing on a snowdrift and seeing how far you fall in, but Mr. Bittner was our go-to guy. So I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Motion and a second is to approve the $250,000 allocation for a new services agreement for weather gauges. Is there any further discussion? This is a roll call vote. Please.
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Reeds.
Yes.
Ms. Madriga.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you. Please continue.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. The next contracting action is for CH2M Hill Task Order 5, Amendment 13, Jacobs Engineering. This amendment is for additional scope and fee for project management services, mainly related to the Cheyenne benching project, which is a project that is being required to slow velocities on the Cheyenne River upstream of the aqueduct structures. So this is required work. It's approximately a $13 million project. And so this was not anticipated in the budget, but it was included as contingency in our P3 budget because we knew we didn't have the fish passage locked in with the Corps of Engineers and with the resource agencies. So we knew there was going to be some additional cost related to whatever project was conceived to meet the requirements of the Corps of Engineers and the resource agencies. So this would be for the program management services to deliver that Cheyenne benching project, as well as some other odds and ends.
So to understand, Mr. Paulson, that $1,275,000, there is dollars in our 2023 budget, and you're just reallocating it from some of the line items and applying it to this expenditure?
So this is not included in our 2023 budget. It will be included in the 2024 budget, but it is included in the program budget. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, very good. Any questions, Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Paulson, can you walk me through the odds and ends, please? And then the other question I have is, I'm hoping this is hourly, because how are we quantifying the 1.275? How do we get there?
Yes. Okay. So first question, just the odds and ends. So we've included in here as well the REC feasibility study that was requested from the planning committee, as well as additional meetings for RRVA's resiliency.
I understand the feasibility study for recreation. I think that's a holistic solution for all of us. That the third item, or the second item you brought up, the third on here, is the one that sort of keyed me. What's that?
Okay, so RRVA has decided to take a couple of different initiatives to add value to the community. They will explain to you that they're going to be here for 30 years. They want to be members of the community. So they're looking at 3 different areas to invest in our community. One would be for workforce development and training, and working with schools like NDSCS and NDSU to incorporate internships and those sorts of things into the project. Another one would be they have a concept for maybe a potential museum dedicated to flood history and the development of the project that could be potentially incorporated into the project somehow. And then the third one is for the investigation of the implementation of solar energy in certain components of the diversion channel, that they would work with utility owners and those sorts of things. So that's their concepts right now. As they work with entities, we want to stay involved with what they're doing, so we understand, one, from what they can and can't do, and then two, helping them to try to get connected with the right folks to try to develop some of these things, and stay involved in that. So I've been attending a majority of those meetings, but we also have somebody from Jacobs that helps with the day-to-day, coordinating the meetings, taking notes, looking up information that would help to continue to facilitate those discussions.
Okay, then back to the main topic, presuming the bullet point one is where the majority of this money is going to have to go. Is that hourly? How are we quantifying the 1.275?
That is all hourly. So all of our consultant agreements are hourly contracts. So it's an estimate of what they would intend to, what they may spend next year, according to our budgets. So,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any additional questions? Anything else to add, Mr. Paulson?
That would be all.
All right.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor. Mahoney, is there a second, please?
Second.
Mr. Steen seconds. Been moved and seconded to approve item 7B on our agenda, CH2M Hill to 5 Amendment 13 for the price tag of $1,275,000. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, should be roll call, please.
Oh, my apologies. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Reeds.
Yes.
Ms. Madriga.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Item number 8, we'll call on the MOUs and agreements. Mr. Shockley will be presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We only have one item for you today under the MOU section. This is an amendment to the Maple River Water Resource District and the Diversion Authority MOU. This is really a technical amendment regarding the realignment of a crossing for Drain 14B. Due to some construction issues and landowner issues, they want to realign the access for Drain 14B and crossing. And if you look on page 75 and I believe 74 of your packet, you'll kind of see the maps of what's going on. It doesn't change the underlying obligations of the Diversion Authority and the Water Resource District. It's just an amendment to realign the property interests and allow for better access for landowners.
Thank you, Mr. Shockley. Are there any questions? Any questions at all? Okay. This is an actionable item.
John, excuse me, Chairman.
Yes, Mayor.
John, it's a little confusing on the map. What are we changing where the bridge is going or the crossing is going, or?
No, it just, and maybe Chris wants to answer kind of the technical side of it, but it's just realigning the drain so it allows for better field access.
No, Chair Dardis, Mayor Mahoney, we're not changing any alignment here. What ended up happening is it made sense to shift the drain a little bit for future purposes, and by shifting the drain a little bit, it kicked the future project onto Diversion Authority property slightly. So we're just adjusting things just to make everything fit back together to make sense for both today and in the future. So very, very minor adjustments, but no, we're not moving any major infrastructure with it. So.
Any additional questions? Again, this is an actionable item.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mayor Mahoney. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Redlinger. It's been moved and seconded to approve the MOU as presented by Mr. Shockley. It's the Maple River Amendment number 1, page 63 of the packet. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Reeds.
Yes.
Ms. Madriga.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Thank you, Don. Item number 9, under other business, is the 2024 draft cash budget, version number 2. We'll call on Mr. Paulson, our Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in your packet was an updated version of the draft 2024 cash budget. I'll probably call on our numbers guy, Mr. Paul Barthel, to explain the differences between last month and this month's.
Actually, just a few very minor differences from the last draft budget that you looked at last month. The biggest one is down here in, we saw a reduction actually in our overall budget. If you recall, last month it was about $218 million. And the biggest area of that reduction is in this MOU agreements area. With conversation with the Buffalo Red Water Resource District, we were able to identify basically what they would be spending next year. We had assumed the full $8.3 million for their project that they were currently working on. Through their feedback, we were able to disperse that in the proper years, and so we saw a reduction there of about $5 million in the cash budget for next year. That's probably the biggest change. The other addition that you'll see, there's a couple additions through here. There is a question from the staff from the committee about the numbers not adding up, and so basically, if you add these together, there's a note in here that helps you work through that math and make sure that the numbers all add up correctly. It has to do with the Wells Fargo payoff for about $150 million. So, and then finally, the other addition to here was working with the City of Fargo staff and the fiscal agent. We've identified the funding sources for the 2024 cash budget. And so sales tax from City of Fargo, Cass County, the legacy, we're anticipating using a majority of our funds next year coming from the remaining legacy bonds from the state of North Dakota. There is some SRF funds, and you can see some of the draws from the Horace infrastructure funds that have been created that were seen earlier in the reports by the fiscal agent and the City of Fargo. So it's just a matter of ensuring that we're for those two draws that we're not, our accounting practices are correct, and we're not double counting money in or double counting money out. So those were the major changes. We're not anticipating, you'll probably see a draft next month in November. We're still tracking a number of these lands purchases to make sure that we can refine the numbers here and just making sure that everything lines up correctly. So we're anticipating bringing the final budget before you right now in our December board meeting. So hopefully give you a nice Christmas present.
Questions for Paul? Anyone? All right, thank you. As you will recall, 9B has been removed from the agenda. Our next meeting is going to be November 15th. Does any member of the Finance Committee have anything that they'd like to bring forward today? Any staff members have any other business or non-agenda items?
Just if everybody would remember the Friday event we're having, which they're going to turn the inlet over to us. It's nice to be other board members there.
You want to expand on that at all, Mr. Paulson?
Yeah, so the time has changed for that. Just to note, you should have received an email from the Corps, but it will start at 11 a.m. here at the City of Fargo chambers. Due to the weather out at the DIS site, it was decided by the Corps not to attempt to shuttle everybody out there. So we'll have the ceremony here from, I believe it would go from 11 till about 12:30, 1 o'clock.
So that changes today, because yesterday I got an email from Terry and it was 10. So it's 11 now?
I'm sorry. The ceremony starts at 11. There is a social starting at 10. So 10:30. 10:30, yes.
Bernie, you're always early.
It's true. Any other business? Again, our next meeting is November 15th. With that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.